Well, Kenya had that huge chance, the shot off the woodwork from Onyango, but Cameroon are on top. Rooney Onyango's effort after Kenya had that terrific opening in the first half as well, when Michael Olunga found himself through on goal, tried to tee it up for Jukabuya. In the end, it was John Avire's shot off target. But otherwise, Cameroon have been the more dangerous team. This is Basogog on the right-hand side at the moment. Lays it back towards Abubakar. The captain hits the shot on the turn. Vincent Abubakar, hero in Cameroon, came on as a substitute to score the winner in the 2017 AFCON final against Egypt in Libreville. Initially made his name with Coton Sport, of course, in his home city of Garoua. Ongla touches it on for Brian Mbomo. The wingers remaining on opposite sides at the moment for Cameroon. Brian Mbomo on the left, playing it infield. It's collected by Anthony Akumu. Kenya 0, Cameroon 0. Jackson Chachua under pressure. Andre Onana under pressure as well, very casual. Goodness me, they've got away with that one. The Cameroon defence. We've had an hour of this game, 2/3 of the way through it, goalless in Kampala. Zombo Nkisa. Now then, cut back towards Brandon Bomo, looking to lay it off for Abubakar. Quality not quite there in the final third.
Concentration. Duke. Kanyanga ball. Ingia. Mika. Wall. Wapili.
Well, Engin Firat, the Kenya coach, hoping to see his side pull off a famous victory. Kenya, remember, not involved in the qualifying campaign for the last AFCON. And currently trailing Zimbabwe in the race to finish certainly second behind Cameroon at least in this qualifying group. You can really do with a victory today. The shot coming in, it's a stunning goal. It's the substitute, Boris Ino, who puts Cameroon in front with a sensational hit from long range. Cameroon, the leaders in this qualifying group, heading towards the finals in Morocco, thanks to a sensational strike from one of the newest faces in the national team, Boris Ino, with a debut goal. on as a half-time substitute, and a player who Mark Brice, the Cameroon coach, rates very highly. That's why. Boris Eno, who has been on the books at a couple of leading European clubs without breaking into the first team, at Racing Club de Lens in France, at FC Porto in Portugal, who had a spell in Israel before moving to DC United in Major League Soccer this year, breaking into the full Cameroon national team and coming up with that. A moment of real quality to break the deadlock here in Kampala. And now Kenya are chasing this game when a defeat may be very damaging indeed to their prospects of qualifying for the next Cup of Nations. But Cameroon are on course to secure their place. It's ahead of the last couple of qualifiers, remember. In this Group J, Kenya now looking for the equalising goal. The ball into the middle, aimed at Olunga. It's picked by Brian Mbumu. Zomboangisa. It's lovely play from the away side. And out to the left flank here. Basogog whipping the ball in, aimed at Abubakar. And turned behind by Johnson Omurwa for another Cameroon corner. Gadu coming forward again.
Why you only focus on one side? Go sit down, go sit down.
Castelletto getting his head to that ball. Well, Mark Brice was asked about Boris Eno's quality, speaking to Cameroonian television a few days ago, and he described him as a player with something special, who is daring, who's a good technician with a good shot on it. Well, he proved that with the goal as Kenya make their second substitution. Duke Abuya is coming off here. Timothy Uma is coming on, the number 10 Uma, who started the game in Yaoundé the other day, and John Avire, the number 21, being replaced with Amos Nondi, another player who started in the first meeting of the teams, coming on as well. Avire, a forward. Amos Nondi replacing him.
Coming on is Amos Obiero, shot 17.
He is a defensive-minded player. Timothy Uma is a midfielder, a bit of a tactical tweak here, I think, for Kenya, midway through the second half. We'll keep an eye on how the Kenyan system changes following the double substitution. The free kick given for the challenge on Anthony Akumu. comes the free kick beyond everybody. Well, certainly the appointment of Mark Brice was a controversial one in Cameroon, made by the sports ministry at a time of disagreement between them and the Cameroonian Federation. It was not Samuel Eto'o's appointment as president of the FECAFOOT. Brice came in April. Eto'o relieved him of his duties in May and then went back on the decision a couple of days later. Brice has stayed on. Even just the other day, there was suggestion from Brice that he might quit of his own volition. That was due to unhappiness about a decision by the Cameroonian Federation to remove one of his assistants, Joachim Mununga, from the list of team officials. But Brice is still in the position, and he is the man who's brought Boris Eno into the squad. He is the man who brought Boris Eno on at half-time, and the result is spectacular. Just as spectacular as the goal itself from Boris Eno, which has Cameroon in the lead here in Kampala. Painumbumo, lovely control. Up against Otieno. Looking for Eno. Richard Odada under pressure. It's picked up by the goal scorer. Chachua. Zomboangisa. Bumo's cross, and there's the header from the captain, Abubakar. Off target. Cameroon looking for the killer second goal here. Vincent Abubakar leading the line for Cameroon. He's playing his club football in Turkey these days with Hatayspor. Attacked this cross from Mbumu brilliantly. Unable to find a target though with the header. Otieno. Richard Odada has only made a couple of brief appearances for Dundee United in the Scottish Premiership this season. Odada suddenly finding himself playing 2 games close together against one of Africa's leading national sides. It's a big ask for him and all of the Kenyan team today. Challenge on Basogog. Well, it was Alfonso Mija who committed the foul. Remember, he is already on a yellow card. Kenyan defender who came on at half-time. Chance for a drinks break for some of these players. Second meeting of the teams in 4 days. They clashed in Yaoundé on Friday. The Amadou Ahidjo Stadium. Kenya just one AFCON appearance in the last 2 decades. That was in 2019 in Egypt. Before that, it was 2004 in Tunisia. There have been a number of other times to the AFCON, including 3 in a row, 1988, 1990 and 1992, but they've never gone beyond the group stage. Just getting there would be a start for the Harambee Stars, and they are in a period of development. The big aim for them is the next one, 2027, on home soil, when they will co-host it with Tanzania and Uganda. That should be a terrific tournament. It always is, of course, the AFCON, and certainly the upcoming edition in Morocco. A chance for the North African nation to showcase some of its infrastructure, some brilliant stadiums, before it co-hosts the World Cup in 2030. Nondi back to Richard Odada. Back to Johnson Omurwa Otieno. Ball played forward, looking for Nondi. He's playing in an advanced position in support of Michael Olunga. Timothy Uma on the left-hand side since he entered the fray. Andre Onana ultimately hasn't had too much to do today. Saw that shot from Rooney Onyango come back off the post. Kenya have passed up at least one other good chance today, but Andre Onana has not actually had to make a big save in particular this afternoon. Cameroon have been on top, and they lead thanks to that stunning free kick by the substitute Boris Eno on his debut. And Gadou has taken a knock in that challenge. Well, just a collision, I think, with Timothy Uma. Gadou, 33-year-old veteran, taking his time before getting back to his feet. The referee is getting ready to brandish a yellow card here, and the Kenyans are not happy about that. And you can hear the Kenyan coaching staff protesting. Eric Otieno is the player who's been booked.
Boys, calm down. You cannot stop this race. Calm down. He can't see you.
Calm down is the message from the Kenyan coach to his players. Gadou's going to be okay. Making the peace with the Kenyan coach. 14 minutes of the 90 remaining here in Kampala. It's become overcast. Coming up towards 6 p.m. in the Ugandan capital, the first game of the day on the continent in AFCON qualifying, which will continue tomorrow as well, remember. But in this group, as it stands, it's going to be Cameroon top with 10 points. Neither Kenya nor Namibia will be able to catch them. Cameroon will be celebrating qualification before their final two games in the group, which will come in November. Remember the exact dates we don't yet have, but Cameroon due to play Namibia away and Zimbabwe at home. And the free kick given here. Boris Eno Takan scoring the goal, which has the indomitable Lions in the lead. Gog has been a constant menace today once again. Not quite as lively as he was on Friday in Yaoundé, but he was the player who won the free kick for the challenge by Rooney Onyango. Five green shirts in the penalty box, ready to attack the free kick. Cameroon looking for the second goal, which will secure victory for them here in Kampala today. Kenya up against it, playing their home matches away from home. That's the reality. And there is a problem. A couple of Cameroonian players ending up on the floor. Michael Gadou falling very theatrically. The referee just making clear that he's keeping an eye on everything. Of course, there is no VAR in place today. Too much on the free kick, and it's not a problem in the end for Bernard Mondi, the Kenyan goalkeeper. A defeat for Kenya. Cameroon will be through, and if Zimbabwe get the victory when they play Namibia in Johannesburg a little later today, well, that will leave Zimbabwe on 8 points, Kenya on 4, and it will mean that Kenya will need the results when they play Zimbabwe in the next game. Have to win that one, and that would set up a decisive final day in which Kenya would be looking to get the better of Namibia, while Zimbabwe have to play away in Cameroon. And Namibia, of course, made an impact at the AFCON this year in Côte d'Ivoire. Made it to the last 16 before losing to Angola, but it looks like they're not going to be at the next edition because they've lost their first 3 games in this group, all of them by a single goal, and they're rock bottom. And Zimbabwe will fancy their chances of getting a victory, certainly getting at least a point in that game. Kenya will be up against it in their bid to return to the AFCON finals. Cameroon, meanwhile, with a victory, will be able to revert their focus back to the return of World Cup qualifying. They are top of their World Cup qualifying group with 8 points from 4 games. They've had wins at home against Mauritius and Cape Verde, and draws away to Libya and Angola. It's looking good for the indomitable Lions, who are aiming to reach a 9th World Cup. They are specialists on the African continent when it comes to qualifying for the World Cup. They're 5-time winners of the AFCON as well, remember. 1984 and 1988, then back-to-back editions in 2000 and 2002, and then in 2017 under Hugo Broos. It was a bit of a makeshift squad that he put together that year. Some big players didn't go to the competition in Gabon, and yet they emerged victorious with a big Cameroonian support attending the final in Libreville. Of course, it's just next door for Cameroon. They had hoped to build on that and win on home soil in 2022. It wasn't to be. Zombo Anguissa, Boris Ino, back the way to Ngadu, and now Andre Onana. Sent long downfield, not kept in play by Chachua. Johnson Omurwa for Kenya. Richard Odada. Fairly neat and tidy today, Odada, but it's been difficult for the Kenyan midfielders to really dominate in that area. Nondi, too much on the pass, asking a lot of Onyango. Amos Nondi on as a second half substitute after starting in Yaoundé a few days ago. We are going to see another Cameroonian change. Double substitution by the looks of it, and got a glimpse of the number 13, Brice Mumi Ngamalo, who on the official team sheet has been given as an absentee today, but it looks like we are going to see him. There might be a chance for the equaliser for Olunga again. He was a bit slow to pull the trigger. Well, Michael Olunga missed a great chance in the first half when he opted to pass it to Djukabuya instead of shoot, and on that occasion it's almost as if he wasn't quite expecting that ball to come to him. Kenya do at least have the corner. And before the corner is taken, we're going to see a couple of substitutions here. Cameroon bringing off Martin Ongla, who scored in the 4-1 win in Yaoundé on Friday. He's put in another good shift in the midfield today. Martin Atimenge Nzi is going to come on for him. Player based in Israel.
Is coming on for Shati Christian Masuke.
Brice Mumi Ngamalo does enter the fray then. The Dynamo Moscow winger who was due to start the game today, but the last minute change saw Christian Bassogog start instead. Well, Bassogog is the player who comes off. Kenya bringing on Jonah Ayunga, fresh legs front for the last 6 minutes plus stoppage time. Ayunga coming on for Richard Odad. Well, that's a midfielder off and a striker on, so Kenya effectively going for broke here. What can they do from the corner? Teasing delivery. And in the end, I think it was Zombo Anguissa who got a really important touch on that ball, actually. And the Kenyans feel that that should be their ball. It's been given Cameroon's way, and you can understand their frustration, because had there not been a touch off a Cameroon player at the near post, I think Kenya might have scored there. Look at this again. Well, in fact, it's Michael Ngadu who gets a touch. If he doesn't get a touch, I suspect that ball might have fallen for Onyango. Cameroon survive. Just a reminder for the Indomitable Lions that they are not safe yet. Confirmation of that Kenyan substitution. Richard Odada been replaced by another Scottish-based member of the Kenyan team, Jonah Ayunga, the English-born striker who plays for St Mirren in the Scottish Premiership. Here is Ayunga. It's a good ball out to the right-hand side for Olunga. Back to Ayunga again. Well, his footwork was neat enough, and he wins free kick in a promising position. Softly given away by Boris Ino, the man who scored Cameroon's goal, remember. Well, Cameroon looking to hold out and secure the 3 points, clinch their spot at the next AFCON. It is crucial because this ends in a draw today, and Zimbabwe win later. Well, Cameroon will not be home and dry by any means. Indeed, they'll be level on points with Zimbabwe, with Kenya just 3 behind, so Cameroon will be looking to hold on. Olunga's shot is blocked. Comes out for the effort from very long distance, which is not a problem for Andre Onana. There is an issue for Cameroon player on the ground here. Now, is it a knock? Kenyan backroom staff. On course for a clean sheet, but Kenya have had opportunities here in Kampala today, but they trailed by a goal to nil. Brilliant free kick from Boris Inu. The 24-year-old DC United midfielder making his senior debut for the Indomitable Lions. Months after securing his move to MLS. Well, there is Boris Ino. Played 7 games since moving to DC United. The last one was in a 2-1 win away against New England Revolution just over a week ago. He came on as a substitute. Team captained by Christian Benteke, the Belgian striker who scored what proved to be the winning goal for DC United in that match. Now then, Kenya still looking for the leveller in the 90th minute. Decision there is a goal kick. Onyango thinks that it should have been a corner. Well, the Kenyan coaching staff are unhappy with the officials once again. It's been the case often today, but I understand their frustration because they're running out of time as they look for an equalising goal which would allow them to salvage a precious point. Ultimately, the quality's not quite been there in the final third for Kenya today. Even when they've managed to get in behind, the majority of the game they've struggled, losing the midfield battle. Ball runs through to Bruno Mondi, beaten by a stunning free kick early in the second half. And that looks like it's going to be the difference for Cameroon today, ahead of the late game in the group between Zimbabwe and Namibia. But still, 5 minutes being added on at the end of this match. Still time maybe for Kenya to rescue a point. Header away by Stiletto. One of the match underway in qualifying elsewhere on the continent today. The Gambia and Madagascar goalless at half-time. 4 other games taking place later this evening, and then a busy card tomorrow. "17 games altogether. The reigning champions Côte d'Ivoire among the teams in action tomorrow. The host nation Morocco will be playing as well. Remember, they are involved in the qualifying campaign to have competitive match practice, but of course they qualify automatically as the hosts. Johnson Omurwa. And the quality needs to be better than that from the Kenyan team in the final minutes here. Johnson Omurwa playing in Saudi Arabia these days. Certainly on paper, Cameroon heavy favourites. When you look at the world rankings of these teams, Kenya 102nd in the world, Cameroon 53rd. Cameroon are the 8th best nation on the continent. Kenya are 23rd. That does at least suggest that Kenya should just about be qualifying for the AFCON, be among the top 24 teams in Africa. But they haven't been able to become a regular presence at the Cup of Nations in recent times. Omurwa. It's the long ball forward towards Ayunga. It might just fall for Michael Olunga. Challenged by Nzi on the edge of the box. Again, Engin Firat is furious that the decision has not gone Kenya's way. The R&B Stars coach, Otieno. Cross comes in, goes beyond Olunga, all the way out to Onyango on the far side. It's going to fall here for Uma. Away by Brian Mbumo. An awkward bounce, picked up by Mumi and Gamalu. At the moment, Cameroon are the ones who are sitting back and having to soak up all the pressure. Amos Nondi. Well, it's come on Yango last. It's going to be a goal kick. And Cameroon are heading for the victory after a deeply disappointing AFCON campaign. Côte d'Ivoire at the beginning of the year, they will be very pleased with the way they've started their qualifying campaign for the next AFCON. It's going to be 10 points from a possible 12 for Andre Onana and his teammates, and a place at the finals wrapped up already. Away by Otieno. Now the challenge coming in by Castelletto on Michael Olunga. The referee may finally have lost his patience with Jean-Charles Castelletto, who committed a couple of fouls in the first half. Cameroon have avoided a booking today, but Castelletto gets one there. Into the starting lineup today in place of Christopher Wu, another French-based centre-back. Well, this will be the last chance for Kenya to grab an equalising goal in the 95th minute. Otieno have to get the ball into the box. They have to gamble. Headed on by Okumu. It nearly fell for Olunga. Back to Otieno again. Can't fault them for effort. And that ball flashing across the face of goal. Agonising for Kenya and heart-stopping for Cameroon as well. That is that. Cameroon have got the victory. Seems to be all friendly between Ngadu and Joseph Okumu, but the reality is that there will be desperate disappointment for the Kenyans. It was always going to be a huge challenge for them, this doubleheader against Cameroon, the 5-time AFCON winners. They would have hoped to have taken at least something from 2 games, but in the end it's 2 defeats for the Harambee Stars, and that really seriously compromises their chance.